This Labor Day, the Donald Trump administration has unveiled a stark declaration of its priorities, boldly proclaiming the American workers first, outside the US Department of Labor. Trump, who campaigned on promises to protect workers and uplift marginalized Americans, has since delivered a mixed message, with policies that prioritize corporate interests over labor rights. Critics argue that his second term has been a calculated assault on worker protections, with actions that jeopardize wages, safety, and collective bargaining rights. The administration's focus on deregulation and anti-union rhetoric has sparked fierce backlash from labor leaders, who claim it represents a betrayal of the very values Trump claimed to champion. The administration's latest move, halting enforcement of a critical federal rule protecting coal miners from silicosis, has drawn particular attention. This regulation, which safeguards workers from a deadly lung disease, was dismantled amid claims of corporate influence, leaving miners vulnerable to hazardous conditions. Similarly, the removal of the National Labor Relations Board NLRB chair, a key figure in safeguarding worker rights, has left the agency powerless to enforce labor laws. Labor advocates describe this as a systemic erosion of protections that have long shielded workers from exploitation. Trump's policies have also targeted construction and caregiving workers, whose livelihoods are increasingly precarious. By shutting down major wind turbine projects and cancelling Biden-era subsidies for renewable energy jobs, the administration has undermined efforts to create green-collar opportunities. Meanwhile, the proposed elimination of minimum wage and overtime protections for 3.7 million home care and domestic workers has sent shockwaves through low-wage communities. The administration's attempt to abolish a Biden plan that would have prevented employers from paying disabled workers less than the $7.25 hourly federal minimum wage has further inflamed tensions. As critics argue, it disproportionately harms vulnerable populations. Labor leaders like Liz Shuler of the AFL-CIO warn that Trump's actions are not only damaging, but deeply disrespectful to the dignity of workers. We knew it would be bad, but we had no idea how rapidly he would be doing these things, she said. He is stripping away regulations that protect workers. His attacks on unions are coming fast and furious. Shuler emphasizes that Trump's rhetoric, promising to fight for workers, contradicts his actual policies, which prioritize profit over people. Economists like Heidi Shearholz of the Economic Policy Institute add urgency to the crisis. The gulf between Trump's pro-worker rhetoric and his policies is staggering, she noted. He's not just targeting unions. He's dismantling the very framework that ensures fair wages and workplace safety. Shearholz highlighted the hypocrisy of Trump's actions, such as ending the requirement that federal contractors pay workers at least $17.75 an hour, which has already caused millions of workers to lose income. She estimates that full-time workers could see a drop of over $9,200 annually, a blow to families struggling to make ends meet. The administration's defense of its policies is met with skepticism. White House Press Secretary Taylor Rogers dismissed criticism, arguing that the Democratic Party has long neglected workers, and Trump's agenda is rooted in protecting American jobs. However, experts like Julie Su of the Biden administration's labor team caution that Trump's approach mirrors that of Ronald Reagan, who famously fired 11,345 air traffic controllers during a strike. Reagan's actions were a catalyst for a long decline in unionization, Su said. Trump seeks to reverse this trend, but his methods are equally destructive. The scale of Trump's union-busting efforts is even more alarming than Reagan's. Under Trump, the administration has ended collective bargaining for 1 million federal workers, a move that has been described as the largest single act of union-busting in U.S. history. This decision, which came after a series of deregulatory moves, has left thousands of workers without representation and facing job insecurity. The administration's refusal to enforce safety standards, such as reducing staffing by 12% at the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, has further exacerbated workplace hazards. Critics argue that Trump's policies are not just about workers, but about reshaping the economy to favor corporate interests. His tariffs, which have driven up prices and slowed growth, and his push to eliminate tax breaks for tipped workers, such as the no tax on tips provision, have been condemned as exploitative. Economists warn that these measures will leave millions of workers in poverty, particularly those in low-wage sectors like caregiving and construction. Labour advocates, including AFL-CIO President Liz Schuler, have called for protests and public demonstrations to highlight the crisis. Unions will hold close to 1,000 rallies this Labour Day, she said, as workers demand fair wages, safer workplaces and affordable healthcare. Meanwhile, home care worker Jenny Smith in Champaign, Illinois, expressed frustration over Trump's plans to eliminate overtime and minimum wage protections, which she calls a direct attack on struggling families. If you take away these wage protections, it will take money out of these workers' pockets, she said. The majority of these workers are black, brown and single mothers, and you're taking from their children's mouths. Trump's policies have also had unintended consequences, such as forcing workers to work longer hours and face harsher conditions. A cargo handler at JFK Airport, Corey Mahoney, lamented the impact of tariffs on his warehouse, noting that many employees lost jobs when Trump ended protected status for Venezuelans and other immigrants. Some of the people I worked with tried to come back, but they weren't allowed, he said. We were left with fewer people, and we had to work twice as hard. It's unfair. As the debate continues, the question remains, will Trump's policies ultimately serve the interests of workers or deepen the divide between Labour and capital? The answer, however, lies in the hands of the people, who are now standing at a crossroads in a system that has long prioritised profit over progress.